It's a one-stop shop.
All right, testing. Bill, can you hear me? It sounds like the rest of the room cannot hear me. Maybe YouTube can. I don't even see where it will allow me to turn it on. Oh. It says it's green. Let's try again. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, that's better.
That's better? Okay. You do? Y'all hear me? No? All right, kind of. I'll try to speak up then. We'll try to also get the technical guy in here. What the presenters have to say is way more important than what I have to say, but I do need to get through a number of things before we can even get to our presenters. So just everybody try to stay quiet. I know that's hard to do, so you can maybe hear me. First of all, hello, ITS Georgia members and guests. Welcome to our second month of in-person, back in person. This is exciting. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, virtual people who are online, for also tuning in. We'll be hearing soon about our GDOT Traffic Incident Management, but before we move to the program, let me get a number of announcements out to you. Because we are going to also hear from some of our nominations, because elections will open today, for some new officers and board members. Let's see, the board and committee chairs are still working diligently to provide a fantastic 2021. Here are a few items planned, and remember to check the website for updates. That's going to be your best, most current of events. You know, I know life's changing, it seems like every day, so we're just trying to keep up with that. So to help keep you up with it, check out social media, check out our website, things like that. Service committee chairs Keith Rowling and Dino Pampolina, with the help of our members, really hit it out of the park with the backpack drive held during the month of July. I understand there are many local communities who do backpack drives, so I was quite impressed with our members stepping up and actually donating and everything, because I know locally you probably are doing that as well. We had over $2,000 worth of donations from our member community. We as ITS Georgia had already committed to 1,000 backpacks, so we went ahead and moved forward with that. But just want to thank all of you guys for making this happen. It was a very quick turnaround thing. We're going to get this started next year a lot earlier, so we can even do, impact the lives of our students in the community even more. So I just want to give you all a round of applause. I'm going to have more numbers, and I plan to give that information out at the annual meeting about exactly what we were able to do, have some pictures and stuff. We did get to deliver a lot of these to different boys and girls clubs across the metro Atlanta area, and it was they were just very thankful. So, and wanting to also write us letters and stuff. So if I can get some of those letters in, I'll also share with our members for sure. Our program committee, which includes Whitney Nottage, Tom Glucker, and Emily Dwyer, finalizing the details for the year. They're pretty much in good shape. August, we're back here at City Springs, so put that to hear more in detail about the Midtown CV TSP project. September is our annual meeting, and which I'll bring up in a little bit. October is scheduled to be a joint Georgia ITE ITS Georgia meeting at the GDOT TMC, so be on the lookout for that. And then November, we'll bring back our awards banquet this year at Cumberland's Maggiano's location. We are looking to do a training in December, so if any of you have training ideas, please do not hesitate to reach out to us with some of that. We had something in place, but it doesn't look like it's going to work. So December, we like to do a good training during that kind of first, second week of December before y'all get into holiday season. So just reach out to us if you've got any ideas. We'd appreciate that. Rachel Cohen, our networking chair, she is working tirelessly on putting together a wonderful slew of events for our annual meeting. So again, annual meeting I'll get it back to, but it's going to be a big hit of our first back in person, really get together and have fun. Our 2021 annual meeting registration and sponsorship is open, so check that out. Ty Alexander with AECOM is leading these efforts and planning a fantastic annual meeting this year. Please reserve your hotel room and mark off your calendars to make the trip down to Savannah, Georgia this year. It is September 19th to the 21st for this program, and the theme is on the road again. So we're all excited to get back on the road again, see one another. If you do have any registration problems, do not hesitate again to reach out to any of us. Ty Alexander will help you. Note when you're registering for your hotel, change it to Sunday. It may say Saturday, so it may say there's nothing available. So just make sure, because we do start on that Sunday. We'll try to get that worked out if we can, but just something to note. All right. Looking out to 2022, ITS Georgia as lead conference chair with Mike Holt as our fearless leader is moving forward with planning the Southeastern ITS Summit next November in 2022. This will be a regional conference with ITS Florida, ITS Carolinas, ITS Tennessee, and GRITS, bringing together 8 states to showcase innovative ITS projects and products right here in the Metro Atlanta area. So keep that in mind. Put that on your, that is November of 2022. And then, let's see, Brooke Martin and Stephen Sheffield have done a phenomenal job with our membership committee. We currently have more members today than we did at the close of the year last year. We are still not up to our pre-COVID numbers, but we are hopeful that things will kind of get better and get back there. We do appreciate all of you who are members. Y'all help our organization be what it is today. We thank you so much for your support in that. I will say, before the annual meeting, it helps you get better pricing for the annual meeting. So if you are not a member, it is still not too late to still reap the benefits of being a member due to the annual meeting, as well as getting to basically your organization gets to have a voting for our elections that we're about to hold. And that kind of brings me into the elections process, in which I'm going to have some people who have been nominated and accepted that will be on the ballot. So real quickly, for those of you who do not know me, I'm Winter Horrible. I work for Temple Incorporated. I've been fortunate enough to serve as president for ITS Georgia in the year 2020, in the crazy year 2020, as well as this year in 2021. I will be rolling off into the past president position after this year, and that leads me into the really awesome group of nominations that, of those who have been nominated for different positions. We have both our officers and 4 director positions, board of director positions open. And so with that, I'm going to have you guys kind of start coming up here. Y'all do need, if y'all are going to speak, y'all need to speak up here at the microphone and just start a line, because we do need to get through this so we can get to our presenters. So let's bring up our first, Mark Starr and Tom Gluckert for the president position, so they could introduce themselves. And then we'll move on to Rachel Cohen, vice president, and I'll be back.
Hey everyone, good afternoon. My name is Mark Start. I've been with AECOM for 22 years. My name is in there for president, and looking at the ITS Georgia organization, I think the slate of nominees by itself shows the health of this organization. We're coming out of COVID, and I just want to thank Winter for piloting the ship during the COVID time, and I think there's going to be a good conclusion to that. I think we've got great opportunities. We've got a great conference this year, as well as already a conference next year in plan. So it's a great time to be part of the organization. Why am I looking to be president? I think, first of all, I want to give back as I've been blessed and benefited from this organization in my professional career. I want to make sure the folks here have the same thing, and there's a lot of younger faces here, and I just want to encourage all those who are younger to stay with us and become aware of the people that can lift your career as you go through your professional life. So happy to serve, and I think my passion for the organization is evident through what I've done. But again, I think it's a great time to be part of ITS Georgia.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom.
Afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Glickert. I'm also running for the position of president. I've been involved with ITS Georgia since moving down to Georgia in 2017. Started in 2019 as the membership chair, where I increased ITS Georgia's membership from 80 to 102, which I believe is the most we've had. In 2020, I took on the role of treasurer, where I looked to establish a better system of tracking revenue and expenses for the organization, help negotiate our 2020 conference, make sure we weren't paying crazy large bills since that had to be canceled. So we will be having that conference in 2023. Helped oversee the rollout of our outreach program, and really excited to see how well that's grown over the past 2 years. As president, I think my goals for the organization are to really increase our young membership, the roles that our young members play in the organization at every level, increase our connections and really establish better connections with local agencies in the area. I'd really like to breathe new life into the annual meeting, which we'll be meeting in 2023 after this year's annual meeting. And then maintain and grow our outreach program for ITS Georgia, which, again, I've been really excited to be a part of that. So, thank you much.
Is this working? It's supposed to be. Okay. Hey, Rachel Cohen. I am not running for president. I'm running for VP, and lucky for you guys, I'm the only one. So, while I would love your votes, not necessary. But I've been involved in the organization on the board for the past 2 years, liaison to the social chair 2 years prior to that. I've been heavily involved in the annual meeting. Hope you like all your food because I've picked it the last couple times. Involved in this one as well, doing all the social events. So happy to come back on the board and support the incoming president and other board members, kind of bring a new life into the board, fresh faces, continue with our outreach programs, continue with our social events. So yeah, happy to come back.
And before the next one's up, I'm going to bring, is that something about? Okay. Maybe this works better? Yes. Okay, so I don't have to strain my voice. Just next in line, I'm going to bring those running for secretary and treasurer. Please go ahead and move up to the front. But I do want to say the three that just spoke, they have been part of the board and part of ITS Georgia for a very long time. Could not do my job without them. They're all very, very important people that are running. So you guys definitely have a tough choice, especially with choosing vice president, since there's multiple running mates there. Okay, so with that, I'm going to introduce Stephen Foy and Ty Alexander as secretary, and I'll let y'all fight it out as to who's going to come up, and then Mahesh as treasurer. So bring on, here's Stephen. Yeah, I'll probably stay right here so they can see virtually.
Hello, everybody. I'd like for you to consider me as Secretary of Georgia ITS. I've been involved with ITS since the late 90s when I worked at Athens, Clark County. It was a very simple system we had then with multi-mode fiber, and we had 170 controllers. And so anyways, I've seen a lot of change since then, and I didn't even know Georgia ITS was a thing back then. I wish I did. Probably would have helped me a lot. I've been coming probably about the last 5 years. Of course, COVID has slowed down my meeting attendance in person, as it has everybody's, I think. But, currently I work for Paulding County. We're trying to finish up the latest traffic control center. Hopefully, I can have a meeting where I can show off the new traffic control center. So we're trying, like I said, working with GDOT, trying to finish up some field work and some details that need to be done. But just like Mark said, I want to contribute any way I can. Last year I was on the technical committee for the virtual meeting, and it was a lot of work. It was a lot of, I won't say herding cats, but it was a lot of, making sure details were done. And but it was good to meet the people I met, and so it was very rewarding for me. So like I said, I'd like to contribute, and hopefully I can be your next secretary. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ty Alexander. I'm a traffic engineer with AECOM. I've been with AECOM about 10 years. I've gotten more involved with ITS Georgia recently, most notably as helping plan the annual meeting. I've gotten to meet a lot of you through that planning process, and I've enjoyed it, so I'd like to continue to get more involved and run for secretary. I'd appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mahesh Atluri. I'm with HNTB. I've been with HNTB for 14 years. I'm running for the treasurer. I've been involved with ITS Georgia all along for the many years. Actually, I've assisted with the registrations for several years, and most recently, I've served as the technical committee chair for the 2019 annual meeting. Like Rachel said, I may not need your vote, but I'll be happy to get your vote. And I'm excited to serve. Thank you.
All right, thank you to all of you. Again, people just very involved in ITS across Georgia and helping with annual meetings, helping, just build this program. So again, tough choices, especially when it comes to Rachel and Mahesh. They are going to have a really tough time. On to the board of directors. There are 4 board of director positions opening up for the next 2 years. We do have an elections process that occurs every other year with more board of directors positions, but this one holds the officers and 4 board of directors. So we do have a long list of directors. If they whoever wants to speak, start lighting up over here on the stage. There are a couple of people who are not here, so I do want to give a shout out to them at the moment. Farrah Glasgow with Utelecom is not here. I think she may be on virtually, but unfortunately we can't tie her in. So just want to introduce Farrah to you guys. Michael Ruhl with Kimley Horn and Associates. I also think he is on virtually, but unfortunately we can't tie him in. I know Ken Keena with Gwinnett County DOT registered, but I don't see him, so most likely a last-minute meeting popped up for him. So let me make sure everyone else. If there's anyone I did not get to, I will get to at the very end just to state their name. And you can see these all on the website. I know Bill's taking some pictures also right now, so hopefully we can get some of those up there. So with that, I'm going to start with Keith, and they can just follow suit. Keith Murphy here.
Thank you, Winter. Hello, everyone. My name is Keith Murphy. I think most of y'all I know out there from my days at GDOT. For those of y'all that have heard the rumors that I left GDOT, that is true. I now work with Jacobs. Anyway, so I would definitely appreciate it. I did not come up here today with a speech prepared. Mr. Dino called me yesterday and told me I needed to speak today, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So anyway, I have Dino nominating me, and I would love to serve on the board of directors for ITS Georgia and helping in any capacity that I can to help further the goals and the missions and making this great organization, the best it can be in the nation. So hope all of y'all voting members, take it under consideration. Would love to serve. Thank you.
Hey there, my name is Arno Huget. You may know me from some of my work I've done as the Assistant State Signal Engineer with GDOT. I'm also continuing the tradition. I now work for AECOM as the QPL Management Lead and also as Extension of Staff for the TMC, for the the traffic ops group downstairs. So I am very grateful for some of the relationships I've built here at ITS, and I'm also looking to give right back. So again, my name is Arno Huget, and I'm looking forward to your vote. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Matt Glasser. I used to work at GDOT, just like the other three, or the other two. Still work at GDOT, though, so you don't want to give your votes to those traitors. They've abandoned us. No, they're great. Love Keith, love Arno. So, yeah, I've been on the board of directors for the last several years. Really enjoyed it. In the past several, actually been supporting Keith Rolling and the great work that he's been doing, reaching out to the community and our students through COVID. Would love the opportunity to continue that support with Keith, and continuing that outreach, and would appreciate your vote. Thanks.
Hey everyone, I'm Holly Painter. I do not work with GDOT. I'm with KCI Technologies. I have about 16 years experience. I would like to thank Rachel for this nomination to be on the board, and I am looking forward to helping to continue the success that the current board has and the future board has. And I do need your vote, unlike Rachel and Mahesh. So thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm David St. John, and I'm new to the area. I've been part of Georgia ITS for about a year and a half, a little longer. And so I have about 15 years of ITS experience off and on. I started my career with A Networks. Some of y'all may remember that. But I would like to serve on the board to participate and help out in any way I can, and I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Hi everyone, most of you already know me, but for those who don't, I'm Mary Thamadi. I work with SEI. I've been involved with ITS Georgia for 5 to 6 years at this point. I've done work with the membership committee, I've done work with the social committee, and just from working, I started on the operations floor, which you'll hear more about today. I'm also doing a lot of work with STIMs right now, and also doing work with SIGOP. So just between all the different things, I think there's a lot of different awesome people here and want to work to kind of help collaborate and bring some really great ideas. I do a lot of stuff with research and innovation, and that's something I'm really passionate about and would love to bring to this board. So I would appreciate your vote. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Greg Ramsey, Director of Public Works and Engineering for Peachtree Corners. This is my 25th year of being in the transportation industry in Georgia. I was an intern in traffic ops in 1996 during the Summer Olympics. Bain Smith was my boss. I worked in Plasters Avenue, which I think has since been condemned, or should have. But I've been doing this a long time. Happy to contribute back. Peachtree Corners is in its third year of a connected and autonomous vehicle shuttle technology center. We have an innovation lab. We have a corridor that's doing testing. So we've been on that cutting edge for the last few years of ITS and everything that's connected and autonomous. It's been awesome to be a part of it. Every day is a new challenge. Every day is a new company that's coming in to test. And I'd love to connect more of that with you all in your industry because it's kind of isolated in a little bit of a bubble right now. So I'm happy to serve to help with that. Happy to serve to share the community with what we're doing and what ITS is doing. With all these years later, it's much more technology sound than what Bain and I used to do under the bridge. Happy to serve. Thanks for your vote.
All right, thank you all for getting up and saying something. And again, just a little bit of voting information. Every organization gets one vote. I will say one thing I've heard from the Gwinnett County crew just recently is that they all get in a room, which is really nice. They get in a room, they talk it out to determine who they think should be the officers and the board of directors, because only one person from Gwinnett County will be able to do the vote for Gwinnett County. So keep that in mind. Your organization, if they're a member, there's one person that is the lead voting person. If you need to know that, we will offer that information up. It is public knowledge. Reach out to me. I can tell you who the voting member is at the moment written down so that you can have your say in making ITS Georgia great. I think all these nominations are wonderful. We'll bring many different things to the table. And with that, we're going to close the nominations. The elections will start today, so be prepared to get going with that. All right, so now I want to finally thank all of you for being here at City Springs, and those of you who are also still taking advantage of the virtual component to hear about GDOT Traffic Incident Management. Before we get to the technical side of the program, I want to present this month's sponsor, as we cannot keep these monthly meetings and our organizational goals going without our sponsors. A big thank you to Scott Love. It is Scott, right? Come on up. It's not Jeremy, right? It is Scott. With Maldonado Burkett. So I'm learning, for your continued support with ITS Georgia. We look forward to hearing about you. Come on up here.
Okay, you did get my 45 slides by email?
You know, lost them. Just try and do it without it.
Hello, everybody. I'm Scott Love with Maldonado Burkett. It took me about 3 years to figure out how to pronounce that correctly.
Thank you.
Or we just say MB. So we take that as well. I am not running for anything. Been doing this for 26 years. Nobody seemed to want to nominate me, so that's fine. I'll just come for the lunch. Makes it a little bit easier. As a matter of fact, I didn't even know we were really sponsoring this until I got here and was told, hey, you got to get up and speak. So I couldn't get my slides done in time. Anyway, some of you already know us. Maldonado Burkett is a DBE company based in Austin, Texas. They've been around since 2007. ITS engineering. They do illumination, lighting, electrical, even some light construction and TMC operations in Texas. Got involved with them really as a consultant with them 4 years ago. And past 3 years, they convinced me to come on board part-time, now full-time, and open an office here. So we've been here almost 2 years and really have been blessed by all of you out here, giving us some great opportunities. We now get to operate the District 3 TMC operations down District 3 in Thomaston, and adding another about 11 people to our staff down there actually Monday. So we're growing quite a bit here. We've been able to get involved in hopefully in some of the ITS maintenance. We're on that team. They haven't given us any work, but but we're on the team, so it's on my resume. And then we've also been doing some ITS design work. We did just completed the ITS design for 85 Phase 2. Unfortunately, we didn't win 3, so we're waiting for our next opportunity there. And also have some technicians running around in the state as well. So really a lot of great opportunities. Been blessed to be on some great teams. Appreciate that. We've done a lot in 2 years, and really looking forward to the next year. And I think we're on sponsor for the meeting in Savannah. So just appreciate the opportunity, and thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And thanks to our sponsors. That's what allows us to be in facilities like this and have lunches like we do. So a big shout out to all of our sponsors, and especially Scott and their team. All right, now we're going to move on. I'm just going to let you know we are probably going to move, go a little past 1, because we did have this nominations discussion and things like that. But to prepare, we're going to preparing ourselves to hear about GDOT Traffic Incident Management with Requel, Marty, and Jason. I think our 3 presenters. But before we pass to those 3, I just want to quickly introduce our current ITS Georgia member, Matt Glasser. Matt is GDOT's Assistant State Traffic Engineer, serving as an Assistant Office Head with supervisory responsibility for the Intelligent Transportation Systems, Advanced Traffic Management System, ATMS, 511, Transportation Management Center, Floor Operations, Coordinated Highway Assistance and Maintenance Program, CHAMP, Statewide Traffic Incident Management Services, STIMs, a lot of acronyms here, and Administrative Services. Matt has a bachelor's in civil engineering from Georgia Tech and is a licensed professional engineer in Georgia. And with that, Matt, the floor is yours. Welcome, Matt, guys.
Thanks, Winter. I gave her that huge list to make myself sound a lot more important than I actually am. The people that are coming up to speak today are the ones that make all this happen, and I'm really happy to have them here because all the crazy ideas that we dream up, all the things that we build and maintain and operate on a day-to-day basis, they're the ones that use that. They are the end customer, and they see what's going on. They're living the dream, hopefully, with what's going on. And really, they're the ones that make the roads continue to work the way they need to be working, especially our interstates, 400 to 85 right now. And that just all of it. So again, very excited to have them. I don't want to spoil their presentations, but all these folks are a part of Time Task Force, which is another organization similar to ITS Georgia about traffic incident management. And I think it's important for us as engineers, as operators, to understand what they live every single day so we can better enhance our designs. That pole that we think is pretty good right here because it's saving us $5 in grading work, well, they got to deal with that for the rest of their lives. So those are the types of things that I hope to take away from this type of presentation and think about in your day-to-day lives as you continue to do your great design work and operations work. So I got 3 speakers. I'm going to go through them very quickly. Our first is Requel Williams. Requel Williams is a Georgia native and has worked in and around the Georgia TMC since February 1999. Over the years, Requel has gained a wide range of knowledge in traffic incident management. At the TMC, she has been an operator, supervisor, training manager, special projects coordinator, and now a TMC ops manager. So she's got a nice long list like me. A couple of her major accomplishments over the last 22 years include the 2007 GDOT Commissioner's Achievement Award, initial deployment of Georgia 511, and the GDOT Managed Lanes. She is on the Time Task Force Board of Directors and also serves as a Time Task Force Programs Committee member. Marty Lege is currently serving as the Deputy Project Manager for GDOT's STIM's contract. Prior to joining Atkins, Marty served as a Director of Incident Management and led a team of 99 operational, administrative, and technical employees at North Texas Tollway Authority as they delivered an array of TIM services. Marty is an advanced certified law enforcement planner and a master police officer. And finally, but certainly not least, is Jason Josey. Jason is GDOT's Highway Incident Response Manager for HERO. Jason has served on the HERO team for over 15 years. He's also served as a co-chairman of the Georgia Time Task Force, manages the Georgia TRIP program, and is a member of the Atlanta Regional Commission Regional Safety Task Force. Jason attended GSU, graduated from the United States Army Chemical School, and served with the 3rd Battalion, 18th Field Artillery at Fort Sill in Oklahoma, the 79th Aerial Port Squadron, and the 80th Mobile Airport Squadron in Dobbins Air Force. With that, let me hand it over to this group. Appreciate it, guys.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to be here today, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about GDOT Traffic Incident Management. I know most of you that are here today, so I'm just going to enlighten you a little bit about what we do at the TMC. Again, as Matt already introduced, we're your presenters for today. And so a little bit about what is incident management. And we know that incident management can be a wide range of managing incidents, and it doesn't necessarily deal with traffic. Incident management could be managing a house fire. It could be managing a water main break. But when it comes to the TMC and what we're doing here at GDOT, we're talking about traffic incident management and how those different types of incidents affect traffic. So traffic incident management, when we talk about traffic incident management, I'm referring to the FHWA definition. And basically what it is, it's incident detection, response, and clearance. And it involves coordination between different partner agencies, such as emergency responders, DOTs, and also private sector companies like many that we have here today that assist with the process of making sure the traffic incident management is done as effectively as possible. And one of the main goals of traffic incident management is quick clearance and scene safety. While we're trying to clear the roadway as quickly as possible, we also have to keep in mind the safety of the responders that are out there on the roadway actually managing these incidents. So protecting the safety of the responders and the traveling public is highly important, and it's something that we keep in mind while we're managing these incidents. All right, so we've all seen this diagram here, and most of us are familiar with it, but it's something that we live by at the TMC. And this is our traffic incident management timeline. And what we do at the TMC, we're basically involved in the entire process. Now, some say that, well, what are you doing or how are you involved? You're not out there on the roadway. You're not clearing the roadway. You are not physically, as people would say, involved in this process, but we are. Just from a different perspective, because we're receiving the information, right? When the incidents occur, there's different technologies, there's different methods that we are receiving information about these incidents that are out there on the roadway. And from there, we are just going through this process to make sure that the incident is managed properly, from getting the responders notified to them arriving on the scene, to then making additional notifications or whatever has to be done from our perspective to make sure that the incident is being managed as it should so that we can get it cleared as quickly as possible. So today I'm going to talk to you just a little bit in detail about how we handle traffic incident management from the TMC's perspective. Some of the programs and other agencies or groups that we work with, of course, we're TMC operations, so we are doing operation support, supporting GDOT operations as much as we can. And then we have 511, and we all know that that's the traveler information system, and it's a website and it's a phone service. And what we do at the TMC then transfers or translates over to the 511 system. And then we have STIMs, and Marty's here. She's going to talk a little bit today about STIMs, but STIMs is the Statewide Traffic Incident Management Program, and they're supporting statewide traffic incident management. So that's including TMC, that's including HERO, that's including CHAMP, emergency responders across the state, Time Task Force. They're involved from that perspective. I have a video here that I want to show you guys that talks a little bit, that will show you what we do at the TMC, just in case you haven't seen it in a while. And let's hope this will play for us. All right, so give me a second. We have to come out of the slide to do the video. My apologies, but it's all good. Alright, I'm clicking play and nothing's happening here. I'm not sure why. Let me try one. Oh. Yeah. I'm trying it. Let's see. Oh, it's going back to the next slide. We'll try it one more time, and then if that doesn't work, we'll share it with you another time. Oh, darn. Okay, so I don't want to delay the time any longer because it's other people that have to speak. It was a really nice video with an operator involved, and I was narrating, showing you what we do at the TMC, the different programs and applications, software that we use on a daily basis to manage our traffic incidents. But I don't think we'll get to see it today. So we'll move on. And I'll just talk a little bit about incident detection. And the top right of the screen, you can see here, it shows you the incident management timeline, and one of the first phases of that timeline is incident detection. And as I stated earlier, there are several ways that we are detecting incidents. One of the main ways that we detect incidents right now is by scanning our cameras. We have tons of cameras across the interstates here in the state of Georgia, and we're using these cameras to find incidents that are blocking the lanes on the roadways. And our operators, day to day, when they're not taking phone calls, they're constantly scanning cameras in hopes to find anything that may be impeding the roadway. Another way that we detect incidents is through hero and or champ patrol. We have these guys out on the roadway who are patrolling the interstates, and there are times when they roll up on incidents that haven't necessarily been reported through any other source, and they are a great source for incident detection. Another source is GDOT, right? We have tons of GDOT personnel out on the roadways, our maintenance foremen, our signal techs or what have you that are out on the roadways, and they see these incidents as well. We get a lot of reports of incidents from emergency 911, even social media on some of the GDOT social media pages, the news, and another source of detection for GDOT or TMC right now is Waze. We get a lot of incident notifications through Waze into our ATMS system. So we have these Waze users that are riding and they're noticing these incidents or these crashes, and they are, I think, champion Wazers or whatever the term is, but they report these incidents, and then the information that they report is automatically transferred into our ATMS. Of course, we have to verify the information, but we get the pop-ups in our system, so that's proven to be an awesome method to detect incidents. All right, the next phase of incident management at the TMC is verifying these incidents. So it's been reported to us through one of the sources. Now we need to verify it. And there's certain ways that we verify the incidents. As if we receive multiple calls from the public stating that there's an incident at a particular location. For us, most times that's confirmation that something is actually there in the roadway. There are times that, depending on where the call comes from, we may not be sure, or it may be the locations may be off. But most times, if they're in a similar location, we can pretty much confirm. Of course, with the multiple calls, we also go back and grab a camera visual just to verify that something is there in the roadway. Emergency responders on scene is a form of verification, as well as hero or champ, and of course, a camera visual. So those are all ways that we verify incidents that have been reported or detected on roadways. Now, we have lots of areas where we don't have cameras, or we may not have hero or champ in the area. We may not have a DOT person on scene, and law enforcement may not be on scene. So what do we do in those situations? A lot of times, we'll use the detection in our ATMS where we can see the speed detection, or we'll use Google Maps where we look at the speed detection in those areas, and if we see a huge decrease in the speeds in those areas, it pretty much says to us that there is something happening at this location, and we can pretty much confirm what's going on there, and then we'll notify someone to respond. So the second phase, of course, is in incident management is response. So we're dispatching the responders. The responders include fire, EMS, law enforcement, champ or hero. Those are our initial responders that we dispatch and notify to report to the scene of an incident. Depending on the nature of the incident, it may include additional personnel, such as your signal techs or your SIGOPS group. It could include our bridge groups. This depends on what's happening out there. And then we're also monitoring the responder arrival on the scene. So I want to talk for just 2 minutes about a new product that we're using at DOT or at the TMC right now called Carbine C-Light. And you've probably heard of this, this tool, but it's basically a location tool that we're using with motorists. And we're also using this hopefully in the future to get accurate locations for incidents that are reported to the TMC. And basically with this tool, we can get the phone number for a person that is on scene. And if they can provide us their phone number, we send them a text message with a link. And they click the link in the text message, and it reports back to us through this tool their actual locations. So we get the GPS, the Latin longs there, and we can determine where the incident is. We also use this for locating stalled motorists. A lot of times we get stalled motorists that are needing assistance and they don't know where they are. So they're calling and they say, I'm on 285, and whereabout are you on 285? I don't know. I saw a sign that said to Atlanta. So that tells us a lot. So in those situations, we oftentimes we spent numerous minutes trying to find this particular motorist, but with this tool we've determined that we can find them in a minute or two and have a responder on the way. So this is a new product that we're using, and it has proven to be beneficial. All right, scene management and clearance. So the TMC is involved in the management of the incident through clearance. Once we notify the responders, once responders are on the scene, then it's things behind the scenes that the TMC is still doing. So we're making notifications to the responders or the folks that need to report to the scene to help get the scene clear. We're always recording notes and updates in our ATMS, which is our navigator system. And we try to keep a very clear record of what happened with this particular incident. So if anyone were to read it, it pretty much provides you a story from beginning to end of what occurred during that particular incident. We also use a notification system called RAVE. And with this notification system, we are sending incident details, one to GDOT management first, and then it goes to some of our GDOT responders, and then to some external stakeholders. And with this RAVE software, there are several methods of notification that we use to send this information out. And right now we're using email, and for severe situations or major incidents that we're having, we're using text as a way to send these notifications out to, especially to GDOT personnel. We also use what's called Web EOC. And this is a platform used by GEMA, the Georgia Emergency Management Agency. And here we're tracking all major, and when I say major, I'm talking all lanes, blocked incidents on our interstates within the state of Georgia. And what happens is when we place this information in this software, the GDOT maintenance teams are able to monitor it and update it as necessary from their ends. It's also a way for them to track the maintenance activity of the maintenance crews across the state. It also allows different emergency agencies across the state to access information about incidents. So, you know, if you work for an emergency agency anywhere within the state, if the incident is in Web EOC, you would be able to pull it up and get details about the event. Another tool that we use is called the Georgia Alert. It's at the very bottom. But this is an alert system similar to Amber Alerts, where if we have a major incident on an interstate that has all lanes blocked and the estimated time of clearance that's greater than 3 hours, then we set up what we call a Georgia Alert. And basically what it is we define a geographic area of persons who should receive this alert. And if you're within that geographic area, you'll receive the notification regarding this particular incident. A recent situation was I-16, but we had another situation up in Cobb County back in February with the on 75 northbound. I think it was near Chastain. I think it was like 9 tractor trailers and 8 cars or something along that line. Something caught on fire. There was a fatality. Lanes were blocked for 6+ hours, and we set up a Georgia Alert. And anyone that traveled through that geographic area that we set up received the notification automatically on their mobile device, similar to an Amber Alert. You don't sign up for it, it just kind of happens. So that's something that we do at the TMC as well, and we work with GEMA on that. We do updates to our 511 website as well as our 511 social media, and we also coordinate updates with our external stakeholders. Okay? A little bit about the TRIP program, and this is really in Marty and Jason's court, but at the TMC, we also deal with TRIP, and basically we're just tracking what happens with these TRIP incidents. And the TRIP incidents are commercial vehicle incidents that are affecting the interstate system. And it's an incentive program for wreckers, right? And they have 90 minutes to clear the roadway of the commercial vehicle or what's happening. And if they meet the 90-minute clearance time, the wrecker company receives a pretty decent incentive. And currently it's working in Metro Atlanta, and it's moving statewide, hopefully. So this is another program that we work with pretty much on a daily basis here in the Metro Atlanta to help with traffic conditions and hopefully keeping the roadways open as often as possible. One thing that we're doing at the TMC is we do have these operations monthly reports, and we're just reporting on some data that we track, and we publish this information, I know, within GDOT about just what's happening within the TMC. And here on this screen, you can see the number of events that we're handling just at the TMC, but you can also see the numbers for Hero as well as Champ, and then you have a statewide total number of events. And these are events on the interstates and state routes across the state of Georgia. You can see here at the TMC, we're tracking a total of at least 12,000 events. And then you have the Champ events and Hero events. So it looks like the TMC doesn't do anything, but we're actually working some things behind the scenes, making some things happen. And with the coordination of the TMC and the things that we do in the incident management process helps to get these things rolling. When we have these incidents, we kind of get the ball moving and get the right people to the scene so we can get the roadway open as quickly as possible. And again, here's kind of breakdown of the events that we manage by the roadway. And you can see here that the majority of our events that we're getting are occurring, although you can't see it here, but per mile on the connector. We're managing 72.2 events per mile on the connector, one of the shortest roadways that we have here in the Metro Atlanta area, but we're managing quite a few incidents there. So that's the TMC and how we're managing incident. A few software changes I just wanted to mention that will be affecting what we do at the TMC here in the very near future. We'll be getting a new ATMS system in the fall of this year, and we're working through that, and we're looking forward to the features that the ATMS will provide to us in making our job a lot easier and a lot smoother. We'll also be getting a new video management system through Skyline, and that's coming as well. A new 511 system, and I'm pretty excited about that, but that's happening as well. We've worked with our current vendor for several years now, I believe since 2007. So this is exciting. The incident location tool, which I just showed you, and also a new TOD system for our District 3 operations. And this is basically a tracking tool of all activity that's happening within the district. And so that's something we're working on there. But that's the TMC in a nutshell and all the things we do. We have a lot going on, but it's a collaboration of what's happening with the TMC, but other agencies and other responders as well. We all have to work together to make everything roll and everything be in sync. We work with Marty and her team over at STIM, and we definitely work with Jason and his crew over at Hero. But I'm going to hand it off to Marty now, and she's going to come and talk to you a little bit about her program.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here and get a chance to talk some about all the wonderful work that GDOT's doing and the support that's brought by others that help weave all this together. It's a pretty amazing opportunity. What happens in that TMC is just really magical. I mean, if you get a chance to go over there and tour that and watch what goes on, and hopefully many of you have gotten that opportunity. It's really great to see how they spool things up and get into action. And the infrastructure and the things that GDOT and their big teams put together that help make it all work is really something very special. This is a big TMC that's supporting a large community, right? A large area, and what GDOT and the communities dedicate back to that to keep this thing going and to really infuse it with the information and the knowledge and situational awareness and all those things that have to happen is amazing. And the folks that are working in there, do a great job. It's hard to keep tabs on all of that and everything that's happening, and we've learned lessons over the years, all of us, and you all as well. You're the ones that bring this infrastructure to us, and infused that center with all of this, but it's really special what we all go through, right, to get that thing and keep it well fed so that it can do what it's supposed to do, so that everything works the way it's supposed to work. And I'm not going to say that it always works the way it's supposed to work. I'm just going to, you know how it is. You guys work in this industry, and you know that not everything works the exact right way every time. Humans make mistakes. We're oftentimes the weak link, and we can cause a problem. But we're always working towards Vision Zero, and we're always working towards enhancing the TIM timeline and doing everything that we can collectively and through technology to target every aspect of this timeline. It's all important. Every bit of the timeline is important. And working to tackle the trouble that you have along the way is important. It's important work that you do, and all of us that work in operations need you to do it. And it's really critical. I'm going to talk just briefly about a section in the detection realm. There are portions along the timeline that organizations can't control. And luckily, now that technology is involved, it's growing and expanding, and new things are coming, and we have a chance to really affect detection in ways that we couldn't before. 30 years ago, there wasn't much you could do with detection. So there's a lot there. So there's a piece of technology called automated incident detection that GDOT utilizes, and it has been using for a couple of years, and that's been improving and being honed and worked on, and some of you probably have had some contact with that. But AID is a really valuable tool that detects a lot of different things, wrong way drivers, pedestrians, debris in the road, congestion, queued traffic, crashes, downed motorcyclists, whatever might be out there. AID can lay eyes on that, figuratively, and then let you know. So part of that, of course, you get visualizations like this where you configure and you calibrate the system, and you get those exclusion areas and inclusion areas and direction of traffic and things like that. And so it's a software that's running in the background. It overlays an algorithm over the camera, and it lets an administrative user sit down and do this, configure this, and you configure all along the corridor. If you're lucky, you end up with seamless coverage of your roadways, right? And that would be the dream. Georgia's a whole state. DOT's got a whole state to do. I've worked at some smaller transportation providers and been lucky enough to have full coverage. But that's kind of pie in the sky for an entire state to be able to offer that. But we've got access to lots of technology now that can help you make good decisions about this and where to put these tools. But Metro Atlanta is very well covered. Now that Requel had trouble, I'm fearful about a video. Score. Okay, so the algorithm is sort of painting. You see the green feathering coming off the vehicles. It's sort of painting and tracking what's moving. If you watch right behind that bus, bottom there, here comes the 18. Yeah, so he comes across, and of course, no one's had time to call 911 yet. No one's really aware of what's happening. GDOT has set a threshold at which this thing will start to alert. It's starting to paint it, put yellow boxes around there. That means the system has detected it. Hasn't told anyone about it yet, because it's got a threshold of time where you let this happen so you don't get called every time somebody stops for 2 seconds or 10 seconds to make a phone call. But it'll go red here in a second when it starts, and when it breaks from yellow boxes and goes red, then you know that your traffic management center has been notified, that it's sending the alerts, and there it happened. And now the TMC knows. You can set visual alerts, audible alerts. You can set this, we've connected this to strobe bars, and it'll activate strobe lights. It's giving all sorts of signals. It pops up on operators' desktops so that they can interact with this alert. And it lets everyone know, hey, this is urgent. Something's happened. And so now we've moved on with this great detection to the verification phase, right? So another good asset here with AID is that not only did it detect this, but because it's showing your live video streams and it's working off your cameras, it's also giving you a chance to verify. I'd say we have a problem, right? We pretty much verified it as soon as we got our detection. So we knocked out a couple of steps right off the bat, and TMC operators know exactly what it is that they need to do to move forward. They'll watch this unfold. They'll dispatch all the right resources to the scene. We don't want more assets out there than we need to have. Additional infrastructure just causes more congestion, and this just lets operators know exactly what to do, who to send, when to send, where to send, how to send, what route should they take. They can't get here that way. I can see this is a complete closure. What other way can I get them there? I want to let Jason and Hero operators, I want to let towers and everybody know you can't get there this way. This is another way. We can help you, right? And the technologies that are coming into traffic management centers today are amazing, and they are empowering employees with these tools and letting them know what to do. And the great training that AECOM and others do, operating TMCs, lets them train their people and take full advantage of all of these opportunities. So we've learned lessons along the way. I got to be involved in one of the very early deployments, working with the vendor that did this for the very first time, where we took the technology was made to detect unattended bags at airports, and we take this and deployed this for the first time on our roadways, 2004, 2005 in North Texas, and it was pretty amazing. And we had an array of fixed cameras and pan-tilt zoom cameras, and of course it's important to decide what type of camera is best for your use case. So it's important to understand your use case. Do I want this for wrong-way driving detection specifically? Or am I looking for main lane debris calls, crashes, pedestrians, and things happening in the main lanes? Do I want to monitor shoulders? Do I want to monitor ramps? Am I looking at managed lanes, reversible managed lanes? Because it can do direction of traffic. So, figure out your use case, and then you have an opportunity to deploy different types of cameras. Fixed cameras, the AID vendors all want you to use fixed cameras, because fixed cameras, of course, they're just sitting right there. They stay focused. They don't move. When you start dealing with pan-tilt zoom cameras, which are excellent, and a lot of agencies deploy the majority of pan-tilt zoom cameras because it serves lots of purposes to use a pan-tilt zoom camera. When you do that, the vendors can get a little more afraid of that, and start throwing up their waivers and things. But the reality is it does operate with pan-tilt zoom cameras. It can do detections. Oftentimes you set these things to tour. You're familiar with that. It just needs time enough to get there. It has to acquire and apply the calibration, and then it will be able to function as it did. Just remember, if you're working with agencies that are going to do this, over time, the tours, the calibrations change. The cameras don't go back precisely to where you had them, every time. And so periodically you want to recalibrate the cameras and reset these things, and that's easy for an admin to do on the inside. You don't have to have the vendor out. Recalibrate and do that. Another thing that was really important is performance metrics. Get performance metrics in place with your vendors, with your AID vendors. Tech vendors need performance metrics just like anyone else. And shame on you if you don't do it. They need to be held accountable for the product to perform the way it should. I mean, we blew up our TMC with this when we first turned it on. Like 1,000 false alarms per camera per day. So you can imagine how popular. Yeah, I was real popular. So can't have it, right? It's really important that you understand the impact and what will happen. And to help me save some grace here, I did get to come help GDOT do it not so badly. I didn't really blow up GDOT's TMC turning it on this time. But I have experience blowing it up. And I was a TMC manager then. I wasn't the vendor, but I was working hand in hand with the vendor. But none of us really understood what was going to happen. So we learned that establish performance metrics, determine how many false alarms per camera you can tolerate, because the reality is you can make it as sensitive as you want, you can have it come on as quickly as you want, or you can give it time to let a motorist stop, answer a phone, and take 15 seconds and then drive away, and you never made a detection. So, you do have some controls over the parameters with software, just as you know, and it's important that you work all this out, you work closely with operations, because those are the people that have to live with this every day, and you make your decisions, and you establish your performance metrics, and you hold your vendors accountable for those things. Again, controlled initial rollout, I've kind of already spoken to that. Much better job at GDOT. They've learned over the years. I've learned. Their vendors have all learned. We've all learned that, turning something on, you've got to really understand what's going to happen when you do that. And then one of the great things that GDOT is doing is deploying floating licenses. They've got a little bucket of spares. So, you know, they didn't just buy their software licenses and deploy every single one. We have an opportunity to make good decisions about where we put them for special events. They can monitor special event traffic and occurrences and even crowds of people that maybe are moving. I know there was trouble with some of that, demonstrators and things like that. You can monitor practically anything. So if you've got a camera there, you can use this. And if you don't have a camera there, you can use this. Out watching a temporary construction zone out along I-20 towards Alabama, going out that way, where we had a lengthy temporary construction zone, started having lots of commercial motor vehicle crashes out there. We're trying to figure it out and understand why. You can do this. Deploy it out there, even if you have to throw, you know, fixed cameras are cheap these days. Throw one up, throw it out there, figure it out. So some of the next steps for them, of course, are to develop formal specifications for this and a potential statewide rollout. You know, it's kind of like anything. I don't know that when you say statewide rollout that literally means you get every inch of every corridor covered. That's pretty unrealistic. But certainly watching hot spots and trouble spots and finding ways to help communities keep moving through adversity of traffic incidents is important, and we can do that. And expand special event usage for them, because the surface streets and SIGOPS and everything that everyone else has to deal with is pretty immense when there's something significant happen. And Atlanta is an area where that occurs. So take advantage of this. And then, of course, queue management. They'd like to try and take advantage of this as well for queue management. If you've already got this deployed, it's easy to establish the algorithms and configure them to do this. And that's all I have. Thank you for letting me have a chat today. We've got the hero manager, Jason Josey. He'll pop up.
Hey, everybody. So I only got a few slides, and you're lucky, because I will talk you to sleep. And I'm pretty sure most of you are halfway there. So, highway emergency response operator hero, traffic incident management detection. All right, so our interagency communication is a big deal. I cannot stress enough how important the traffic management center is for hero operators. They're literally our eyes in the sky. We lovingly refer to them as God when we're out patrolling, because we sincerely depend on their eyes to be able to detect or see what we're not able to look at. You'll actually have operators ask the TMC, are you looking at me? Can you see me? Okay, good. Now I can go and do what I got to do. So our dispatch communication with the traffic management center is important. Our on-scene communication with other emergency responders is paramount. All right? Heroes' sole function is traffic incident management. That's what we do. That's who we are. That is essentially how we are built. So our communication with other agencies is extremely important, because we have to actually teach them how to do our job on the interstate. We are the subject matter experts out there. It is our theater. They're just visiting. I'll expound on that a little bit, but that is the fact. They're just visiting. And then there's trip involvement. Marty and Requel spoke about traffic tow and recovery incident incentive program. It's a big deal. I would challenge anybody to be able to recall a major incident that just was on everybody's lips for the last 6 months, sans the bridge collapse. That was a commercial vehicle incident. When the TRIP program was introduced back in 2007, you're talking about towing companies being out there on the road and holding it up for at least 6 to 8 hours, because they were billing the trucking company by the hour. This incentive program literally changed the game overnight. You went from 200 plus minutes of lane blockage to 30. Average motorist doesn't even realize how great that is, but they're benefiting from it. The state benefits from it. And if it goes statewide, it's going to be a paradigm shift for the country. So TRIP is a big deal, and Hero's involvement is also a big deal. So this is the inside of a Hero truck. Now, one of the main things I always gripe about is people having this notion about Heroes change tires and give gas. That's what they do. But we got a $150,000 truck with tons of equipment on it, and I promise you it is not just a jack and a tire iron. A lot of stuff on that truck. So what you have here is the control panel. This is where his lights are. This is his, we call it a dust buster, but that's what he uses to control his message board, his or her message board. That's the radio. This is our ALAS, our automated location and dispatch system or device. We use it to speak to the TMC. Back in my day when I was an operator, we talked to the TMC over the radio all the time. Now, operators not only talk to the TMC over the radio, but they're able to receive and push information through their ALAS in their truck. So a lot of the stuff that they're getting right now is coming to them electronically, and they're doing this in real time. So this is a big deal. This is a huge deal. So that message board, that tough book, they just about emergency vehicle preemption. So it's not super technical in terms of preemption yet, but it is still Stone Age good. We have a message board that is a full matrix message board. Back when I was an operator, we had what was called an arrow board. An arrow board was just lights, just little light bulbs. You had a straight bar, 4 dots, left, right, that's it. The boards we have now are able to give full messages about what it is that that operator wants the traffic to do. A lot of that information comes from the Traffic Management Center based on what is getting pushed to the operator. So if there is an incident that's going to block all lanes and there needs to be a traffic pace, then that operator is able to give an emergency preemption to his vehicle to be able to speak to the traffic to say, hey, I'm a pace vehicle. Do not pass me. Slow down and follow me. Traffic control and advanced messaging message board or arrow board on the entire Hero fleet. With the exception of the SUVs, every vehicle in our fleet has a message board, okay? I hope that the next step is it will be a full color message board. It would help tremendously. But right now we have a full message board. And then our manual placement of traffic control. Now this is where the operators want me to tell you that this is the most terrible thing in the world and to abolish it. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you that the manual placement of traffic control is the single most important job that we do on the interstate as Heroes, because that traffic control does exactly that. We control the traffic with whatever configuration we put down based on what we're looking at. So if we're in a blind curve, a dip, a hill, inside of a canyon, underneath the bridges, what have you, our configuration is going to speak to the travelers and let them know what we want them to do. Occasionally you get a wild card that is disregarded and just fly right through it. Those are dangerous moments. But for the most part, the traveling public pays attention to the traffic control. That's why we do it manually. We do it manually because every day is different, every scene is different, every incident is different, and that operator needs to be able to grab his or her cones and start walking, to manually put them down to be able to get the traffic to do what they want it to do. And finally, electric vehicles. So, this is probably one of the most scary things that we have to deal with right now. Once upon a time ago, you only had a few cars on the interstate, like a Chevy Volt or something like that, that was riding with this orange or yellow cable inside of it that was a no to touch. If you found yourself having to extricate a motorist from a vehicle, cut into the vehicle, the last thing you want to do is cut that cord. That's the last thing you want to do. Fast forward to today, and literally, every 10th or 12th car on the interstate is an electric vehicle. So our challenge is, how do we respond to it? How do we attack it, for lack of a better term? What can we do to help these kinds of vehicles out? We don't know yet. One of the most recent things that we had was a motorist that his battery died. His vehicle died. His vehicle is a battery. His vehicle died. And he got upset with the operator because the operator would not use our cable to charge him up to get him going. Bravo to that operator, because he was smart enough to realize, I have no idea what could happen if I plug into this vehicle, because I've seen these things burn before. They burn super hot and they burn completely away. It is not like your normal burn where you'll end up with drive shaft, engine block, some wheels and tires, and the seats and the shell of a car. With this, it's gone. Even the body, it burns away. So you have this flat black plate on the ground with wheels. It's a nightmare, and it burns. I mean, when I say super hot, I mean like white hot. So we're still trying to figure out how to respond to electric vehicles. We believe that in the next 10 or 15 years, we will be just as good at dealing with those as we are with internal combustion engines. And training. So training is also a big deal. We've condensed our training a little bit. Once upon a time ago, hero training lasted for about 6 months. All right? And that's hard to believe for a lot of people because they don't understand really what it is that we actually do. So it goes back to what I was saying earlier about how everybody is coming to our playground to play. The fire department, state patrol, regardless of what's in their name, police department, EMS, they don't patrol the interstate. They don't. They patrol surface streets, but they don't patrol the interstate. Sandy Springs has an element that's out there patrolling. Good for them. That's a great move. But for the most part, agencies don't do it. We do. Not only do we patrol the interstate, we do it 24/7. And by us doing it 24/7, we're able to support the TMC and the rest of the state by being those eyeballs out there to be able to detect incidents as they occur, or to be able to summon the appropriate agency to the scene to be able to allow us to pass it off to them. Those 6 months of training is to be prepared for whatever you run into until they get there. And for all of us in this room with an imagination, it's everything you can imagine. You have to be ready for it all. That video, that was my first time seeing that video, Marty. It made my heart warm to see how fast that hero truck pulled up. But I want to ask everybody, imagine the horror and the terror to be driving down the interstate and all of a sudden you're almost underneath the rear tandems of a tractor and trailer. And you're there and you're stuck and you're panicking. You may be hurt inside that car. We don't know. Fire department ain't there. Police department ain't there. EMS is not there. They're coming, but they're not there yet. And the golden hour has already started. And boom, there's somebody that works for the state that just pulled up that's there to say, hey, how you doing? Are you okay? Let me get you some help. Let's get this stuff cleared out. Or, oh my goodness, you're hurt. Let me start rendering aid and get the right folks out here to help you out. So the training has been immense, but we had to condense it a little bit because we're finding that where once upon a time ago we were getting people who just was, hey, I need a job, and coming to Hero. Now we're getting people who are actively seeking this profession out. And because they're actually looking for this type of work to do, then they're coming in with a different kind of focus. And so with that different kind of focus, it allows us to condense our training because they're catching on to it a lot faster. We've got smaller classes, but we're pushing them out a lot quicker. And with that, we're going to turn it back over to, is it you, Requel, for some after action reviews. Thank y'all for letting me run my mouth.
And quickly, I just want to wrap up the presentation just to say that after we've managed these incidents, we like to come back together and do after action reviews, just to go through the details of the event and talk about what happened, what should have happened, lessons learned, and how can we make this better next time. And that involves all three of us in our groups to make sure incident management is happening as best as it can throughout the state. And Matt told me I only had a second, so are there any questions? And if you do have questions, I would like to, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, we get calls all the time because our cameras are on and people think that they can be recorded. What do y'all do? Do y'all ever record stuff?
We do not record.
Okay.
We do not record anything, and that's our awesome answer that we give everybody, because we get tons of requests every single day for recordings, but it's simple. We don't record. So.
Now, y'all track and count incidents in specific locations and then go back and start looking at those locations to see if those locations, there's something specific that keeps happening.
Right, that's correct. We've done that, and Matt can probably speak more to that too, but we do track the location of these incidents, especially if we're seeing constant incidents happen at particular locations. So yes, we go back and look at the locations, try to figure out what's happening, what could be causing the incidents at these particular locations, and if necessary, they'll go out and do some studies, some research. The engineers will get together. I don't know the formal answer, but Matt does. But yes, they do, to answer the question.
Yeah, so let me answer that. I'm going to plug all three of these guys. So, and then I'm going to plug myself at the same time. So you guys know that I'm in the cult of Grimace. So you can actually, if you'd like, go on there and you can pull all of the Navigator incident data for like the last 3 years and throw it on a heat map and figure out where the worst areas are in Douglas County, for example. So Marty and her team, that's STIMs. They're the folks that are taking all this jumbled mess and trying to make sense out of it for all of us. And so she says, oh my gosh, there's this hot spot. And she can call over to Requel and say, hey, how many floating licenses do you all have for AID? You all might want to post one right here because we see a spot. And then she can also be working with Jason to say, hey, we're seeing an uptick over here. We may want to just let your operators that are roaming just be on the lookout for this. They may want to be passing this area a little bit more because we're seeing this. And the one that we all know, actually the one that Marty showed, is 675 and 75. It rains by clockwork, there is a crash.
Right.
And that is probably why there's an operator right there. That information had already been passed along.
That's all.
So I appreciate it. Unfortunately, we don't have time for a lot of questions, but I did, my final plug that I did want to share with you guys, they touched on these things, and I think these are important factoids that tie back in to their part. Requel had mentioned, hey, we have this really cool thing called Carbine. It's helping us locate people faster. How much faster? 20 minutes faster. AID, how much faster are we detecting? 7 minutes. Jason was saying and kind of laughing, right? We're not just about giving gas and changing tires. And you may think that that's about us being nice, and we are happy that you all think that we're nice, but it's not about that. It's the fact that in a single month, they give out over 1,000 gallons of gas, which means they're helping over 1,000 people get off the road faster. If even one of those is helping us prevent a rear-end collision, that's one person's life that we saved. That's why these programs exist. That's why what you guys do and how you feed into this is important. And that incident, that traffic incident management timeline, and I'm really glad that you showed it, Marty, that's that detection part, right? That's how you guys are helping. That's how we get out there faster. So keep those types of things in mind as you all are continuing to do your designs and your operations, because it's easy to think, right? I'm done once I stamp these plans. But you all have very much real-world impact, not just for keeping traffic moving, but for saving people's lives. And so for that, I think it's not only a thank you to this team that just presented, but a thank you to this community for the work that you guys have been doing.
All right, real quick, thank you so much. much for the extra 30 minutes. I'm going to make this quick. Thanks, Matt, for moderating. Thank you, Requel, Marty, and Jason for the wonderful presentations today of helping us understand the GDOT Traffic Incident Management. And again, a big shout out to our sponsor, Scott, and the Maldonado Burkett team. Again, thank you so much for supporting ITS Georgia. Real quick reminders, just have a few. Elections for our officers and directors open today, and we'll close the end of August with the official announcements at the annual meeting of who wins those. Reminder, the registration sponsorship is open for the 2021 annual meeting that is in September in Savannah at the JW Marriott. Look forward to seeing you all again with a theme of On the Road Again. Come back to City Springs next month on August 25th to hear more about the Midtown CVTSP project. Keep an eye out for ITS Georgia emails. If you have any leftover questions and stuff, we can try to get back with Marty, Requel, and Jason with any of those. So please don't hesitate to send those through to us, and we'll try and get you an answer. Thank you all. Have a safe trip home.